Okay guys, so loads of news coming today for you on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, with a massive Discord Q&A session that happened between Rocksteady and the community, and my oh my, they expelled some crazy information about this game. Some stuff that may well just sway you guys onto purchasing the game a little further. For me, this is just completely sold over the last week or so, and I'm well excited to see what's going on. So with that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. On top of that, check out our sponsor Advanced GG, the #1 clinically proven energy supplement on the market. My favorite flavor is cherry vanilla, but you guys can catch an array of flavors via the link in the description. Use code CLOUD at checkout for a cheeky discount. And with that being said, let's dive on in to some information that you guys wouldn't have known about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So, like we've just reiterated, the Discord channel had a big movement just the other day with regards to a Discord Q&A session, of which so much information was expelled. We're going to jump straight into it right now with the first question that was asked is, are there any plans past characters reaching max level, like a prestige system or something down the line? That for me is a really big question. The biggest thing about looter shooters is that they never really managed to nail the aftermath of what happens when you max out the level, but Rocksteady's Axel actually responds with a most excellent question to start with. Each member of the squad has their own unique talent trees, 3 for each character, with 10 tiers in each tree. That works out to be 30 tiers to be able to work through on your character, which will take you guys to level 30, and that is the full unlocked. Now, this is a shared group of upgrades between your squad members, regardless of their level. There are a lot of these, and for the squad levels, there are actually infinite, and there is no real level cap. Now, you can freely respec the squad talents the same as regular talents at almost any time. These also add yet another layer of customizability for different playstyles and builds, but where the talent tree provides you with more game and playstyle defining traits, the squad level are also geared more towards specialization, with examples such as specific weapon types and game mechanics. Now, each squad member's level count towards your total squad level, and the higher the squad level, the more squad talents are available. For those of you who are especially astute, that means that if you level up all of your characters, you can get additional squad levels really quickly, and that of course also applies to the characters we add post launch, but we're not supposed to talk about those today, sorry. So we do know that we're going to have more characters to utilize later down the line, which is actually ginormous news. Not only that, but the player level system actually works really well, and it's something that I'm actually quite excited about, as we all know that I do love a grind for no apparent reason. But let me know what you guys are thinking about that one via the comment section down below. This next one though, it's absolutely massive, and I absolutely love this, as well as the one afterwards, which works in the same coordinate sort of style, and probably the biggest news I've seen about the game as of yet. Now, he goes on to ask right here inside of Discord, can you swap characters at any time in the game, and can you swap in both co-op and single player? Are skill tree points shared between characters, if you can swap them, and if you have a skill point and use it on a character, is it still available for the other characters, again, if you do swap them? Now, they go on to state here from Rocksteady that you can swap to a different squad member at any time you're out of combat. In a 2-player session, you'll each have a bot character that you'll be able to switch to. In a 3-player session, the session owner gets the honor of having an additional bot character that they can switch to. Now, when you're in a 4-player co-op session, you will have to travel to the Hall of Justice to switch. You can also change your whole squad lineup no matter the number of players when you're in the Hall of Justice. So if you're playing single player, we also have our psyched up feature where a certain member of the squad will be psyched up for specific missions. For example, Boomerang has a lot of history with Penguin, and when you recruit him, quote unquote, for Waller, he's psyched up to get to see Penguin again, and of course Penguin doesn't remember him at all. Now, if you play the mission as a psyched up character, that character does extra damage and takes less damage, and will also gain a massive XP boost from the mission. This is a great way to quickly level up different squad members, and this for me is absolutely huge, because that seems to work in a really good narrative. Now, all squad members have separate XP levels and talent trees, because we didn't want you to have to consistently manage each character's talent tree as soon as you were to switch to them, because they have points left to spend. However, as mentioned earlier, past level 30 you will unlock the squad talents. Those are shared between all squad members. Great information indeed, and I specifically like the psyched up narrative with the extra damage, less damage taken, and the XP boost, because it kind of enabled you to jump around and try different characters instead of just having to sit in one steady character flow and maybe forcing yourself to get bored in the short term. Now, this is one that I quite liked the look of, and this is more around the environment, but it states right here, will we see the environment change as the seasons progress? And Rocksteady Johnny actually responds with, most definitely, this is something we knew we wanted from the start, to be able to keep Metropolis evolving along with our players and seeing how Brainiacs has the ability to phase in portions of the world. Now, Metropolis is a consistently shifting battlefield, and as your battle with Brainiac and the Justice League progress, you can see the city to change along with it, not only across the duration of the story, but post-launch also. This is very important for us as a dev team, to be able to create a city which players could experience, enjoy, learn all the best routes through, and then be able to switch things up on them. So you'll have to make sure that you have got your bearings, as what you were previously used to navigate by may not be the same next time. Again, absolutely huge, and something that is really, really positive in the style of actually having an updated map, and it means that things don't sit so stagnant because everything looks the same all the time. Now, this one right here is probably the biggest news for me, and this is about squad sharing. Now, this is absolutely massive, and I love what they've actually done with it. Now, it states right here that, is it true that my squad of friends can select my character when I'm not playing, I'm at work or something, and if my squad takes a character with them, I can also get mission, loot, and experience points. Now, Rocksteady Axel actually comes in and says it doesn't quite work like that. If anything, it's even better, as you're not just limited to friends, and that person can also be online when you get their character into your squad. We call this Social Squad. Now, this is a huge feature because this is about to completely change the game. Now, with Social Squad, if you're playing alone and you're not planning on playing certain members of the squad, you can replace those squad members with those of other players. And as we mentioned before, they don't even need to be your friends. If you want, you can go to the leaderboards and find the best players in the world and get the characters into your squad, or maybe you have a favorite streamer and want their characters in your squad. Social Squad teammates will keep all of the gear, cosmetics, talents, and all of the original owners have equipped, just as if you would join them in a co-op session. It's really interesting way of getting that feeling of playing with others, even though you're just chilling in a solo session. Now, that is absolutely ginormous, and that is absolutely amazing, and I love the narrative that they've got with that one. And for me, that is probably one of the cooler features. You guys are open to utilize my characters as much as you bloody want, and I think that that is hilarious and really, really well played, because you can essentially play with one of your streamers' builds without actually being with one of the streamers that you're playing with. It's incredible. Great, great narrative. And if you guys are struggling with the game, you can obviously pull in some of the greatest players in the game from the leaderboards and just essentially run through. It's absolutely amazing, and I think that this is a really, really good one that they've pushed out. Now, the final question that I selected out of all of the Discord chat. Now, if you haven't gone into the Discord, I'll leave the link down in the description so you guys can find it and go and take a look yourself. There was a load more other questions, but we just picked out the big ones from this video. But they go to state here, what will Endgame be like? Now, this is obviously a really, really big question because we have got no idea as of right now, but we do have the live stream going up on Monday with regards to Shroud and the rest of the gang actually going in and showing us and teasing it. Now, this right here is a massive response, and we're going to dive on into it as well as we can. But he states, I love this question because Endgame is one of the things I'm most excited about to share with you, but I'm also worried that I'm going to get tackled by our community team for writing an essay on this topic, so I'll try and break it down into smaller segments. Now, after you've completed the main story, Endgame is huge, constantly evolving and challenging experience for you to put your skills to the test. Our core philosophy for Endgame was essentially mastery of your character, transversal, talents, enemy types, mission mechanics, and of course your choice of build. And as the difficulty increases, you will be able to find new builds to overcome the challenge. That's why we have 3 distinct tiers of infamy sets in Endgame, all themed around an iconic DC character. For launch, that character is Bane, and his infamy set are all themed around different ways of dominating your enemy and harnessing the chaos around you. We have a somewhat chaotic game with a constantly changing battlefield with lots of things going on, and the game is frantic and fast paced, and we've purposefully made it to feel like the squad is always surrounded and in the middle of the chaos. The mastery of the game comes from you harnessing that chaos and using it as one of your strengths, turning the very thing Brainiac is throwing at you back at him. Now, because of our game is chaotic and because we wanted our endgame to lean into build construction as well as mastery of mechanics, we've made our endgame revolve around a core backbone of mission types that provide a more predictable experience and challenge. But that doesn't mean that Brainiac is going to sit back and let you go head to head with his forces without throwing a spanner in the works, or that you know what's going to happen in each mission. Brainiac keeps evolving his forces throughout endgame, and you'll have to adapt your builds to this match. Now, this is absolutely bonkers, and we're going to dive on into the last part of this. So far, sounds absolutely incredible, and I'm really excited to see what they say, but there will be several types of missions from the snappier incursion missions, where the poor squad is sent to Brainiac's domain under the protection of a very fickle Prometheum shield that protects you from the Skull ship's tentacles, as well as a full force of Brainiac's army. The squad have to fight their way through Brainiac's forces, often with the help of the support squad, to make it back to Metropolis. But once the mission is completed, the Prometheus shield goes down, so the squad has to leg it. Waller's really not doing the squad any favors here, and she seems intent on emphasizing the suicide in suicide mission. Then we have the more grand killing time missions, where the squad is battling an increasingly frantic horde of Brainiac's enemies, and they have to keep killing enemies to fuel the Prometheum shield, because once it goes down, there's no hiding from the Skull ship's tentacles. As the difficulty level goes up, so does the rewards, and we have some quite frankly insane infamy sets and notorious items that are earned from the highest tiers of the endgame. That, paired with the global leaderboards of solo, 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player groups, means that there's plenty of friendly competition to go around. And if you want some tips on how to build your character, the leaderboards will be a good place to scout around. Absolutely well freaking done. This seems like a really, really good base level for endgame, and it seems like they've really thought about how they can work around 2 different style of mechanics and how the mission sorts can actually revolve around it. I'm really excited to see what they do with it, and I love the fact that we've got leaderboards there and it gives something to grind for, and we all know that everybody loves a bit of competition inside of these level of games, so having a leaderboard definitely puts you ahead of the game on that basis. For me, this is absolutely incredible, and it gets better and better every time I read into it. I was really skeptical and on the fence right at the beginning when we first saw the launch process and we first started seeing gameplay, but the more I read into it, the more I'm looking at this, the more I can't wait for the 30th of January, because I am definitely pre-ordering that deluxe edition. And no, just to approach the comments in the last video, I'm not working with Rocksteady at all. They didn't reply to my freaking emails. That being said, though, if you haven't already, that's unfortunately we've got time for today, so make sure you like, subscribe, and stick a skull in the comment section below, because you know we're going to die a few times inside of these endgame events. Thanks again for watching, guys. Appreciate you always, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.